7 o'clock, so good afternoon, or sorry, good evening, counselors, staff, the press, and our online viewers. We begin tonight's meeting with the acknowledgement that the land on which we are gathered is in the traditional territories of the Anishinaabe, specifically Mississauga. We would also like to acknowledge the North Channel Métis Council. We say miigwech to thank Indigenous people for taking care of this land from time immemorial. We are called to treat this sacred land, its plants, animals, stories, and its people with honor and respect. We commit in the spirit of reconciliation. Prior to beginning this evening's agenda, I would ask that each counselor who is present via this video conferencing to answer the roll call when I call your name. Deputy Mayor Paula Summers.
Present.
Councillor Betty Ann Dunbar.
Present.
Councillor Jim Dunbar.
Present.
Councillor Stephen Wells.
Present.
And Councillor H.P. Royce sends regrets. Councillor Jennifer Postorero.
Present.
Council would like to extend a huge thank you to our Public Works and Parks and Recreation staff for the beautification of our community. There is a magnitude of grass to cut and flowers to water. Our employees work diligently to ensure that our grass is green and our plants look great. Special thanks also goes out to the Blind River Horticultural Society, Mandy Spear, Alice Nyman, and Judy Brown for keeping our flower buds in top form. Our public works teams ensure our roads and bridges, sewer and water are on code, and they will be working with Tulloch Engineering as our new sewer, water, and roads projects come to fruition. Special thanks to Beamish Construction for the capital project work along the river. We are nearing completion on this initiative, and the end project is even better than the vision. Our highly skilled crews will be replacing and repairing damaged structures. Crews are making the best use of this outage for the customers of Ontario, and Hydro One will be working on the lines coming up. So next week, you want to be making sure that the coffee pots are ready before 7:30 in the morning, and they will be putting us on notice when the hydro comes back on at 3:30 in the afternoon. Next week, Councillor Postorero, CA Clerk Catherine Scott, and myself will be traveling to Ottawa to attend the Association of Municipalities of Ontario annual convention. There are 444 municipalities invited to attend this conference, and we hope to return with some good news on upcoming projects for our community. And the call for candidates for our municipal election is underway, and we look forward to having a healthy list of candidates by the end of the nominating period, which is August 19th at 2 p.m. If you're considering running for council, please go to the town website and follow the steps to register. Last but certainly not least, we continue to pray for everyone in Ukraine and hope that this war ends soon. And now, without further ado, turning to tonight's agenda. And I will be switching up the agenda, Council. You'll notice in light of the fact that Councillor Roy is not present. So on the first motion is moved by Deputy Mayor Summers, seconded by Councillor B. Dunbar. Be it resolved that Council approve the agenda, the closed meeting agenda, and as presented. Sorry, I'm writing and talking at the same time. All in favor of this motion? And that is carried. Thank you. And we have, do we have any declarations of pecuniary or conflict of interest? And seeing no hands going up or declarations put forward, I will say no to that. On the adoption of the previous minutes, I have a motion from Councillor Postorero, seconded by Councillor Jim Dunbar. Be it resolved that Council adopt the minutes of the regular Council meeting of July 11th, 2022 as presented. All in favor of this motion? And that is carried. Thank you. And is there any business arising from those minutes that Council wishes to speak to? I just have one, and that would be the Palace Theatre. Ms. Scott, is there any update on that?
Through you, Madam Mayor. Yes, we do have 2 interested parties. We're waiting to receive their formal written submissions. So I hope to follow up more on that this week and have something back to council for our next meeting.
Oh, that's good news. I'm sure there's a lot of people wanting to see the latest movies for sure. All right, we have no public presentation. So moving on to agenda item number 9, introduction and consideration of administrative reports. 9.1, the administration on the long list of ongoing projects and an updated list. Has council any questions for Ms. Scott as it relates to that project list? A lot of work going on there for sure. Councillor Jim Dunbar.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yeah, I'd just like to have maybe an update or find out like the, a couple of things. I guess the Haynes Hawkins sewer lines and the Alma Street remediation. Did we ever complete that water project that we had going on there, you know, with the hydrant? Has that ever been completed? And maybe an update on the communication tower also.
Through you, Madam Mayor, I can provide an update on all of the requests from Councillor Dunbar. So first we'll start with the Haynes Hawkins. So that tender closed on Friday, August the 5th. I was on vacation, but we did not receive any bids on that project due to the borehole drilling. We did have an emergency site meeting with the engineer this afternoon, late this afternoon, and have some proposed adjustments that we can look at. He's going to reach out to the one contractor that was interested, but did not submit the formal completed bid. And we will work together to come up with a solution for that project. You know, during our walkthrough again and reviewing the videos of that area, it's imperative that we complete this project sooner than later. You'll notice there's a large sinkhole in the middle of the crosswalk. So that needs to be addressed before we have any major failure of the infrastructure. So we're going to look at a few options, try to tie that all together within the next couple of days and get that back out, hopefully as a revised tender and not as a full tender. But again, we're working diligently with the engineer to get that back out so that we can ensure that that's taken care of. To the second project on Alma Street. So that one was delayed substantially due to COVID. The contractor was from out of the area and did not feel comfortable coming to the area. We did have a touch base conversation, I want to say was in June, and they were to provide us with some background information and a complete plan, because there is, as you've noted, it's not a water hydrant, it's the flushing. So we would be removing those automated flushers from the line. So we are working together with Crescent Engineering on this project, as this is quite an old project that we are trying to mediate along with the MOE. So there's some outstanding issues with the MOE that need to be rectified before we can move to the next steps. And the contractor is to get those mediation plans to Crescent Engineering.
And the communication tower?
And the communication tower is moving along quite well. We have finished the agreement with Mississauga First Nation, and they will be contributing to the project. So the project is looking to finish on budget. So we're hoping to have the contractors on site. I believe Mr. Raymond noted that that would be towards the end of August to do some of the preliminary work. The trees have been removed in the area and the site is prepped as far as we can take it, but now it's just delivery of the tower itself we're waiting on.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Scott.
Deputy Mayor Summers.
Thank you. My question is the Travel Information Center. I'm just wondering what's going on with that. I was kind of really hoping that I would have been seeing it open, and it doesn't appear to be open just yet.
Through you, Madam Mayor. I concur. We were all hoping to have it opened sooner than this delay that we've had with the contractor. We've been working and pushing them to get this open, cleaned up. We had some issues that we were not satisfied with, and they had to return to the site. We have done a deep clean. Again, this should have been done last Friday, and possibly Ms. Bittner has an update, but Ms. Bittner and I were both on holidays this past week. So I believe the plan was to move the items over there this week. But Ms. Bittner, if you want to jump in on that one, you and your team have been working really hard to get that site ready.
Absolutely. Through you, Madam Mayor, to Deputy Mayor Summers. What we've started doing is moving over all of the stock that we've had stored at Wave at the Marine Park so we can free up some area for our staff. Our custodian has done a wonderful job cleaning the restrooms and has been opening and closing them throughout the week. So at least that service is being provided. We've had great feedback, and to date, no vandalism at the site as well. So they are being used. And then our goal is to get the storefront / information area up and running over the next month. So we lose our students in a couple of weeks. So we'll be working through that project using our fantastic custodian, myself, Miss Orford, and then hopefully we can snag some of Ashley's Young's creativity too, because she did such a great job upstairs at the art gallery. So we want everything to jive and have the same flow.
Thank you.
And thank you. And moving on to, oh, sorry, Councillor Wells, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor Hagman. Just a question with regard to the library windows. The last update was dated June the 15th, and I see there was a delay due to illness. I just wonder if there's any progress being made there.
Through you, Madam Mayor, to you, Councillor Wells. That was the same contractor that was at the information center. The delays also were affecting that project. Again, I will reach back out to our engineer as I was away last week, but to get some more firm dates. I have been keeping the library CEO and the chair up to date on this as well, just to ensure that they're looped into the struggles of obtaining the product and having the contractor have the workers available to do the install.
Great, thank you very much.
And seeing no other hands going up, I will move to 9.2, the Treasurer's Report, read the CHMC loan, the prepayment that we received. And I have a motion from Councillor Wells, seconded by Councillor Pastorero. Be it resolved that Council directs staff to transfer the amount of $1,200,000 to CMHC as prepayment towards the deferred loan due in 2037. Questions, comments? Lots of hands. I saw Councillor Jim Dunbar first, followed by Councillor Pastorero, followed by Councillor Wells.
Point of order, Councillor Stephen Wells is the mover. I'm the seconder.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you for that. Councillor Wells.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Hagman, and thank you, Councillor Pastorero. My only comment is I realize this is a significant issue, particularly of interest to many of the members of our community. So I'm wondering if I could ask for a recorded vote when the time comes to vote on the resolution.
And duly noted. Councillor Pastorero.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. I just wanted to comment that the NSPG board, as well as the entirety of council, has been working very hard and diligently to recover as much as we can. And it's just another positive, good news story like Councillor Wells was talking about. This is very impactful for the community. And it's just exciting to see another prepayment. Over the last 2 years, we've been able to recover $7 million of a loan that was written off to $1. So I just want to say this is a great news story, and I hope there's more coming forward.
Thank you. Councillor Jim Dunbar.
Thank you, Mayor Hagman. Yeah, I mean, that's always good news, you know, when the North Shore Power Group is bringing forward payments on the CMHC loan. Though I would like to have some further discussion, just a statement, just to discuss it a little bit, maybe at our first budget meeting on Wednesday, which might want to think about maybe the involvement with the Infrastructure Ontario. I've just got a couple of opinions I'd like to throw out there. That's all. Thank you.
And I have one question for Ms. Dent. Do we know what the commuted value will be for this payment?
Through Madam Mayor, yes. So if we had made this payment last week, obviously, if we do the payment tomorrow, they will recalculate it based on the rates as of tomorrow. I don't know how much they've changed since last week, but based on last week's rates, it would be $1,891.36 for our 1.2 million.
Great, thank you for that. And Ms. Scott, if you could call for the recorded vote.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Deputy Mayor Paula Summers,
In favor.
Councillor Betty Ann Dunbar,
In favor.
Councillor Jim Dunbar,
In favor.
Councillor Stephen Wells,
In favor.
Councillor Jennifer Pastorero,
In favor.
and Mayor Hagman.
In favor.
And that motion is carried.
Thanks, everyone. And moving on to 9.3, Telic Engineering, the courthouse demolition tender. I have a motion. I'm going to be moving that to Deputy Mayor Summers and seconded by Councillor Betty Ann Dunbar. Be it resolved that council accept the tender from Beamish Construction in the amount of $397,900 plus HST for the demolition and removal of structure at 15 Hudson Street, the former courthouse building, as recommended by Telic Engineering. Discussion? Councillor Pastorero?
Just a brief comment. I just want to thank people for actually submitting a tender. As you can see with our Haynes Hawkins update, it has been very difficult to get people to actually submit a tender. So to have 3, that's great. And for it to be a local company that comes in as the lowest bidder is great as well. And it will be a beautiful improvement once that's completed. So thank you for submitting your tenders.
Thank you. And are there any other questions, comments? And seeing none, all in favor of this motion? And that is carried. Thank you. From our treasurer, again on the courthouse demolition, I have a motion from Councillor Jim Dunbar, seconded by Deputy Mayor Summers. Be it resolved that council authorize the transfer of $205 and $8.19 plus engineering costs from the facilities reserve to cover the tendered cost of the courthouse demolition. Questions, comments? Seeing none, all in favor for this motion? And that is carried. And 9.5 from our CAO clerk, the application for zoning amendment. And this has been moved by Councillor B. Dunbar, seconded by Councillor Stephen Wells. Be it resolved that council approve the request to amend section 20.2 R rural and resource type zone regulations and section 21.2 A agricultural type zone regulations to require a minimum easterly interior side yard setback for all principal and residential uses and accessory uses to be 300 meters for the property at Rob Road being part 1 on 1R-13940. Questions, comments? Seeing none, all in favor of this motion? And that is carried. Thank you. We have the service delivery status review as a standing item on our agenda. August 2022 gave us the update on the service delivery review. Does council have any questions for Ms. Scott at this time? And seeing none, we're slowly getting through that list from KPMG. Moving on to the presentation of committee reports. Corporate Services met on July 25th, 2022, and the first motion is related to the driver's abstract policy. I have a motion from Deputy Mayor Summers, seconded by Councillor Wells. Be it resolved that council adopt the driver's abstract policy as presented, as recommended by the Corporate Services Committee. Questions, comments? Councillor Pastorero.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I guess my only question is, would this impact any of our current employees with this new policy?
Through you, Madam Mayor. So with regard to this policy, no, it will not. We will be doing the driver, well, we hope it will not. We will be doing the checks as per the CVOR regulations. We're actually in a 3-day training course on the CVOR processes. And this is definitely one of the recommendations from the course today is to have this policy. So we're ahead of the game on that. So we will be moving forward to ensure that all of our staff have the appropriate training and record keeping in order to protect the community and the town against any fines that may come out of as a result of that.
And seeing no other questions coming forward, a call for a vote. All in favor? And that is carried. Thank you. And second motion coming out of this meeting relates to the Compliance Audit Committee. And this is moved by Councillor Jim Dunbar, seconded by Councillor Pastorero. Whereas each municipal council must appoint a compliance audit committee to receive and process any election finance complaints which may result from the 2022 municipal election. Therefore, be it resolved that council approve the joint municipal election compliance audit committee partnership with the city of Elliott Lake, Township of the North Shore, and the town of Spanish. And the council appoint the following people to the compliance audit committee: the municipal clerk for the city of Elliott Lake, the municipal clerk for the township of the North Shore, the municipal clerk for the town of Spanish, and that the town of Blind River clerk be appointed as secretary with the deputy clerk as an alternative. Any questions, comments, concerns? And seeing none, I'd ask for a vote. All in favor for this motion? And that is carried. Thank you. And on July 29th, 2022, there was a special site meeting with Tulloch Engineering, Councillor Dunbar, myself, and Ms. Scott, re the Woodward Avenue construction. And the motion is going to be moved by Councillor Betty Ann Dunbar, seconded by Councillor Jim Dunbar. Be it resolved that council approve the plans for the Woodward Avenue reconstruction as submitted by Tulloch Engineering, and that council authorize the reduction of Woodward Avenue from 4 lanes to 2 lanes, and that street parking be permitted in front of the only remaining business on Woodward Avenue, and that paving and sidewalks be deferred to 2023 for budget purposes as recommended by the Infrastructure Services Committee. Are there any questions or comments, concerns? Councillor Jim Dunbar?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yeah, I believe what I'm wanting to know is have the public along Woodward, where this project is happening, has any of the residential people maybe been approached on what is transpiring here? I believe we touched upon that at our meeting, that something like this was going to transpire, just so that everything's transparent for everyone and people don't come back pointing their fingers at us.
Through you, Madam Mayor. Yes, Councillor Dunbar, the plan for administration will be to reach out to all of the residents if this is approved this evening by council, and have individual meetings with them as well as an open house to show the diagrams of the proposed project, along with the rationale behind the removal of 2 lanes into 2 lanes from 4. This will be a much cheaper endeavor for the upfront costs as well as the long-term costs of operations for snow removal. The sidewalks will also be widened, so there'll be more room for residents to walk along the road, and they will be accessible as well, which they currently are not. They also are not wide enough for a sidewalk machine to go on, and we're constantly bouncing off private property, the hydro poles. So that will also make operations much easier. But we would like to have a fully open and transparent discussion with all of the residents, again, individually, as well as in a group public open house, perhaps at the community center or at council chambers.
And seeing no other questions, all in favor of this motion? And that is carried. Thank you. There is no unfinished business. So turning to item number 13 under action, July 13th, Robin Horwath, re the trapping of beavers. I have a motion from Councillor Betty Ann Dunbar, seconded by Deputy Mayor Summers. Be it resolved that council authorize the CAO clerk to sign the 2022-2023 contract with Robin Horwath for the trapping of beavers at the Mill Pond to where the canal meets the Mississauga River at no cost to the town. Questions, comments, concerns? I know that those beavers have a new subdivision on the Boom Camp Trail, so hopefully Mr. Horwath will be able to address that situation, and as they're not giving up, those busy little beavers, so we'll see what happens. All in favor of this motion? And that is carried. Thank you. And on Chemical Corporation, read the Chemical Charity Golf Tournament sponsorship. I have a motion from Councillor Pastorero, seconded by Councillor Jim Dunbar. Whereas Chemical Corporation has planned the inaugural Chemical Charity Golf Tournament scheduled for August 19th, 2022. And whereas the funds raised from the tournament will benefit the Chemical Fund for Mental Health to be dispersed to organizations undertaking charitable projects for mental health that promote or protect mental health in the Blind River area. Therefore, be it resolved that council authorize a sponsorship in the amount of $500 to sponsor a hole at the Chemical Charity Golf Tournament. Questions, comments? Mental health is an excellent cause to be working forward for, so I'm very proud to represent council saying that. And Ms. Scott.
Through you, Madam Mayor, could I ask Ms. Dent what the allocation is in the council donation budget? My apologies, I had didn't see the amount.
I don't know the number off the top of my head, but I do know that there are funds available. I can get that actual number for everybody, but the donation budget will take a $500 donation, yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
And thanks, everyone. Seeing no hands going up, I will ask for a vote. All in favor for this motion? And that is carried. Thank you. And a letter of correspondence from the Blind River Beavers re-ice installation. I have a motion from Councillor Jim Dunbar, seconded by Councillor Stephen Wells, whereas council passed policy number 2.4.6 ice allocation policy on February 1st, 2021. And whereas the Blind River Beavers Junior A team has formally requested the early installation of the ice to permit an early commencement of their training camp. And whereas the facility has scheduled work to be completed on the electrical panel, therefore, be it resolved that council authorize the CAO clerk to deviate from policy number 2.4.6 ice allocation policy and have the Parks and Recreation Department commence installation of the ice surface as soon as possible, subject to the completion of the electrical upgrades project, and that council accepts the budget implication this will have on the operational budget of the arena, and that council directs the Corporate Services Committee to reevaluate policy 2.4.6 ice allocation policy at their next meeting. Discussion, questions, concerns? Councillor Jim Dunbar.
Thank you, Mayor Hagman. Just a question, I guess. It goes on and it states here in the motion that there could be implications to the budget considering that we have some electrical work to do over there. But with that being said, I mean, I believe it's only 4 weeks right now till September the 1st. And I guess my question is like, where are we along with this electrical, or how long do we have any kind of a timeline frame on the electrical? And if this electrical is going to take 1 week, 3 weeks, 2 weeks, every week that it goes on, it's going to be that much less implication on the ice policy. So my question is, how far along are we on with the electrical?
And Ms. Bittner is online to answer your question.
Sure. Through you, Madam Mayor, to Councillor Jim Dunbar. As far as the electrical goes, we have a delay with the panel. However, we have Metal Air on standby if there are any issues with ours, so we can limp through the season. As soon as the ice comes out in the spring, we will be installing fully. However, we do have lined up this week our dehumidifier repairs, our low brine repairs, and getting the plant started up. So our plan is to have Metal Air on site tomorrow in order to have the ice ready for September 1st, because that's the policy that we're bound to follow as staff. So at this point, our ice installation schedule, if all goes well with the repairs, we would be firing up before the weekend. Then we start taping the boards, and it takes us approximately 12 to 14 days to get our 65 layers of ice on, because we carry roughly 1.5 inches to be ready for the Junior A club. So then the last part of your question, looking at the calendar, the earliest as of today that we can have anybody on the ice would be either the evening of the 29th or the morning of the 30th. And that's just based on the way timing is set up right now, having the request come this late.
Okay.
Councillor Posterero?
So just for extreme clarity, it's kind of a moot point at this time, right? Because it's only a few days, so there wouldn't be substantial budget implications.
Through you, Madam Mayor, to Councillor Posterero. Yes, but there is some merit perhaps in looking at this request to be lined up for 2023. And if we have the information on hand, then of course the other user groups can prepare hockey camps and can get minor hockey registration done in figure skating. So all of the groups can take advantage of having the earlier ice. They've all planned their season after the start date and are ready to rock right after Labor Day.
And Ms. Scott?
Through you, Madam Mayor, to you, Ms. Bittner, how would that affect your staffing levels if we had the ice put in earlier? Is that going to affect or impede your staffing level complement for next year, for 2023?
Thanks, CEO Scott. So through you, Madam Mayor, to the entire group, it can based on the user demands. So if we have a daytime hockey camp that requires floods on the hour, we may be able to wiggle somebody's schedule to be close to the arena to put in floods. However, if we have an afternoon or an evening request, of course, that pulls someone off their daily task duties that we typically have planned throughout the summer. So we might have to look at a 0.5 position. But what we can do is bring a report to council or to the, I guess it's corporate services committee meeting, kind of outlining the different options. So if we start at this time, we would require X. If we start at this time, we would require Y. And then council could make an educated decision for the 2023 budget.
Deputy Mayor Summers?
This is just prior to the one before this. I knew I'd seen this, the councilor's donation slip, and it's in this file, and there's $1,479 left in the budget there. Ms. Scott, you were asking the question. I knew I'd seen it somewhere, so there it is.
And seeing no other hands going up on this motion, I'll call for a vote. All in favor? And seeing none against, this vote is carried. Thank you. And moving on to correspondence for information, July 11th, North Shore Power Group had their meeting. Are there any questions of the meeting minutes? July 26, 2022, Solgen reads standards of care and administration requirements under the PAWS Act. and July 29th. The ADSAB board meeting minutes for June 23rd, 2022. Questions? Ms. Scott?
Through you, Madam Mayor, I just have a question with regard to the previous resolution that was passed to move forward with 2022. Or should it have been amended to for 2023 season? As we will not be able to provide them with early ice in 2022.
I think,
Perhaps. Yeah, but the way the resolution reads, it would read to me that we would be starting early ice and superseding the policy. But that's not able to happen in 2022.
right.
Okay, so the word should be that council, are you looking at that council? Have you got-
Reviewing the early ice request for the 2023 season.
I'm just wondering, because we did kind of look at it, but are they actually starting a little bit earlier? It just works out that they're only going to get a couple of days ahead.
Ms. Bittner, I think maybe you could comment, but I don't believe it'll be any sooner than what was originally promised. Am I correct?
Through you, Madam Mayor, to Deputy Mayor Summers. The challenge right now that the Beavers are facing is our policy has ice in for the first, and their first home game is the 9th. So recognizing that, especially with Labor Day in the mix, that limits them to 3 or 4 practices before they have to play, especially after being off for the summer. That's why the request is here.
But did you not say that you may have it in by the end of August or something? So that would be a few days earlier? Is that not what you, like, I'm just thinking that are you not trying to do a little bit earlier, like to deviate from the policy? That's what my understanding was.
Yes. Through you, Madam Mayor, to Deputy Mayor Summers, with every ice year, we attempt to be ready for the policy date. So that may work out to being a couple days early. My fear right now is we're bringing our technician in tomorrow. So until he gets started on the system, I'm very hesitant to make a guarantee to the full of council saying, yes, we absolutely can be ready to go on the 28th.
Okay,
However, if the ice is ready, I would be more than happy to entertain the Beavers on the ice so they can get as many skates in as possible before their first game.
So I'm just wondering then, is this resolution okay then?
Councillor Posterero, followed by Councillor Jim Dunbar.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. If we can maybe just have a friendly amendment that it is inclusive of this year, but also is looking forward to the future, that if there's demand for early ice time, that we investigate that as well.
Councillor Jim Dunbar.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yeah, I totally agree with Councillor Posterero. And from the actual request that we got from the Beavers, and bringing this forward into 2023, what I got from reading the letter is actually they're talking about us ramping up the ice maybe in the 1st of August so they can get like 3 weeks into it before this policy date that we have now. So thus we'll be reviewing this policy. Your corporate services will be looking at the policy. I think I'm right, correct? Correct me if I'm wrong.
And Ms. Bittner.
If I may, just to piggyback on Councillor Posterero's amendment, one thing with ice in Northern Ontario and in Algoma, it's a case of if you build it, they will come. So if for council to consider the options for 2023 by giving the groups advance notice on what council's decision is when they pass the budget, the ice surface will be filled. It's just council making the decision on what the window is going to look like. So then people can create training camps and people can get their kids registered and so on and so forth. It's not really fair to expect them to jump on the bookings the week of. Let's give our programs and our groups the chance, that's all.
And just in following for that, Counselor Wells, do you want to go forward before I read what the revision has I've written? Counselor Wells?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Hagman. I'm just thinking that maybe, oh, I think I've seen the revision here for the 2023 season at the next meeting, correct? The last line?
Yes.
Yes.
That was always there. Yeah, the 20, it will be,
Mhm.
yeah, the 2023 season is the new wording.
Right, that wasn't in the original one, but it is now. That's what I was going to say, that we're looking at this prior to the 2023 season,
Right.
right?
So is council comfortable with the new writing on it as it stands? And once again, I'd ask for a vote on this. All in favor? And that is carried. Thank you. And again, going to notices of motion, there were none that I had received. So we are into introduction and consideration of bylaws. This is moved by Councillor Jim Dunbar, seconded by Councillor Stephen Wells. Be it resolved that council authorize the mayor and CAO clerk to sign bylaw 22-44, being a bylaw of the corporation of the town of Blind River, to enter into an agreement with Her Majesty the Queen in the right of Ontario as represented by the Minister of Infrastructure under the Investing in Canada Infrastructure Program, ICIP Green Stream Project, to replace the groundwater under the direct influence of surface water well field of 5 wells with a new lake intake source in the town of Blind River, was passed in open council this 8th day of August, 2022. Questions, comments? Councillor Jim Dunbar.
Thank you, Mayor Hagman. It's more of a lot on the line of the comment. You know, this year project that we're entering into, it's kind of been a project that myself and the rest of the council, you know, has wanted to see get off the ground over nearly 8 years for me, and some of the rest of us 4 years. And, you know, I believe that by entering into this agreement, it's going to build a strong foundation for business retention and expansion here in this town, and set up the building blocks for future commercial and residential growth going forward for the municipality.
Definitely. And we will be speaking to the minister when we have our delegation next week in Ottawa. Thank you for your comments. And seeing no other hands going up at this time, I would call for a vote. All in favor for this motion? And that's carried. Thank you. And on Rob Road, we have a motion from Deputy Mayor Summers, seconded by Councillor B. Dunbar. Be it resolved that council authorize the mayor and CAO clerk to sign bylaw 22-45, being a bylaw of the corporation of the town of Blind River, to amend bylaw number 16-49, comprehensive land use zoning bylaw for the corporation of the town of Blind River, was passed in open council this 8th day of August, 2022. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, we'll call for a vote. All in favor of this motion? And that is carried. Thank you. And at this time, we will be going into our closed portion of the meeting. I have a motion moved by Councillor Pastorero, seconded by Deputy Mayor Summers. Be it resolved that council go into a closed meeting at 7:43 p.m. in accordance with Section 239 of the Municipal Act in order to address matters pertaining to personnel. And I'll call for a vote. All in favor of this motion? And that is carried. Thanks, everyone, and thank you to the public. We will be back following the closed meeting. And welcome back, everyone. I would have a motion on the table from Councillor Pastorero, seconded by Councillor Jim Dunbar. Be it resolved that council resume the open meeting at 8:48 PM. All in favor with this motion? And that is carried. Thank you. And coming out of the closed session, council discussed personal matters of an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees, otherwise known as personnel. And I have a motion from Deputy Mayor Summers, seconded by Councillor Pastorero. Oh, sorry, wrong one. I'm missing my papers here. End of a long night. Here we go. I have a motion from Councillor Stephen Wells, seconded by Councillor Betty Ann Dunbar. Be it resolved that council authorize the mayor and CAO clerk to sign bylaw 22-46, being a bylaw of the corporation of the town of Blind River, to adopt the minutes of the meeting of August 8th, 2022, was passed in open council this 8th day of August, 2022. All in favor with this motion? And that is carried. And last but not least, I have a motion from Deputy Mayor Summers, seconded by Councillor Pastorero. Be it resolved that council adjourn this meeting at 8:49 PM. All in favor with this motion? And that is carried. Thanks, everyone. Have a great rest of your evening, and we will talk soon. Bye-bye.